This video tutorial is to show you how to do a suspended bind off when you've been working brioche rib. Sometimes in brioche rib, when I'm going to bind off, I put in what's called a closing row, or I call it a closing row, where I work a row and I get rid of the yarn overs. So I would brioche knit those in and purl here or knit here, depending on what I want it to look like on the edge. Sometimes I don't have the ability to do that because I want this to look a certain way, and so I am going to work the stitches with the yarn overs as brioche knits, but just do everything else that I would do in a regular suspended bind off. Let me show you how to do that. I am working with the main color and I'm on the right side row, and I can tell it's the main color because it's the one along the edge. Let's get started. So I want this to all be knit because I want a nice straight edge for seaming. So I'm going to knit the first stitch, and then I'm going to knit the second stitch, but I'm not going to drop it off the needle. And this is part of the suspended bind off, and this I'm knitting pretty loosely. I'm going to pass the first stitch over the second stitch, just like any other bind off. I don't think I split anything. And then I drop that second stitch off the needle. So I'm just suspending the moment that's going to happen. The next stitch has a yarn over, so I'm going to brioche knit it, and I'm not going to drop it off the second needle yet. Then I'm going to do the bind off, and now I'm going to drop it off the left needle. Next stitch is a single, so I'm just going to knit it. Don't drop it off my left needle yet. This is just putting a little more yarn into my stitches. And then I bind it off, and then I drop that stitch off my left needle. The next stitch has a yarn over, so I'm going to brioche knit it. Don't drop it off. That's the suspended part. Pass the first stitch over and off, and then drop this off. Next stitch is a single stitch, so here we go. Don't drop it off. Pull that up kind of nice and big. That's what's adding my extra yarn. And off, and then drop the second stitch. This one has a yarn over, so I'm going to brioche knit it. Pull it up nice and big. Don't drop this off yet. Pass the lower one over, and now drop this off. This one's a single, so I'm just going to knit it. Pull it up big. Leave that one there. Over and off. Now drop this off. This one has a yarn over, so I'm going to brioche knit. And don't drop it off. Over, off. Now drop it off. Here's a single. I knit. Don't drop it off. Pass over. Drop it off. The last stitch, I'm just going to knit it regularly. I don't need to pull it up really big because I don't want to try to make a bigger loop there. I'm going to pass this one over and off. And then, depending on what you're going to do, sometimes you need to leave a long tail if you need it for seaming. And here is the last stitch. I don't need to pull this yarn back through the loop. I can just pull this straight up and through, and that makes it not put a little knot on the end. So now I have a nice smooth edge, and I'm going to seam this to something else. And that is my brioche suspended bind off. Hope this helps.